Now that we've talked a little bit about hardware basics and the number systems that are used in computer science, let's start to talk about coding. Coding is the process of developing algorithms to solve some type of problem. You express that algorithm in a language that a computer can understand. There are many different languages out there: C, C#, Java, Python. Maybe you have some experience with a language, or maybe you don't. In this class, we are going to be using a programming language called Java. To review, an algorithm is a strategy for solving a problem. It's a detailed step-by-step instruction list. It's kind of like when you make a cake. You have to follow a recipe and you have to follow it exactly, or your cake won't turn out how you want it to. Java programs. Remember, you're learning a new language. It's like learning Spanish or French. When you first start, it's very difficult and very confusing, but after a while, you'll get the hang of it. There are specific rules and syntax that you have to follow when programming in Java, just like there are specific rules and syntax when speaking in English or in French. If you don't follow these rules, then you are going to get syntax errors, or we call them bugs. When you start coding, you'll open up a file and save it with a file extension called .java. This is the file that contains the English-like syntax for your algorithm. Here's an example of a Java program I created in the BlueJ IDE. Remember, an IDE is an integrated development environment. You can open up Notepad and start typing your Java code and then run it through the compiler, but using an IDE is a lot simpler. My program name is add2. You can see in my Windows file directory that the file was saved as add2.java. There is a correlation between the class name and the file name. They have to always match exactly, and they are case sensitive. Once I'm done typing up my program, I'm going to compile it. If there are no syntax errors, Java creates a .class file. The .class file is called a bytecode file, and it contains all of the zeros and ones that the computer can understand. So when I run this program, this is the file that is executed, the .class file. The .java file contains all the English-like syntax, and if it is correct, then the .class file is created, and that is the file that is run when you run your program. So when I have finished typing up my program, I'm going to run it through the Java compiler, which is a program called javac. The Java compiler will look at my program, and if there are syntax errors, I will need to fix them and then resubmit to the compiler. Once I have error-free code, the Java compiler will take that code and create a .class file that is called the bytecode file, which contains all of the zeros and ones that the computer can understand. This is the file that's executed when I run my program. In Java, a lot of the English words that are used are called Java reserved words. That means that they have special meaning. You don't have to know all of them for this course. AP has just a small subset of the words that will be tested on the exam. Here's my Java program again. As you can see, a lot of it looks like English words to you. The reserved words are always highlighted in red when you're using the BlueJ IDE. You can see that class, void, int, these are all Java reserved words. These mean something. When you're creating code, you're going to need to create your own words, and those words are called identifiers. And those would be things like your class name. The name of my class is add2. I made that up. That's called a Java identifier. I have a variable name right here called scan. That's a Java identifier. And I have two variables, x and y, that I created, and those are Java identifiers. When you create an identifier, there are certain rules that you have to follow or your program won't compile. So again, identifiers are words to represent class, method, or variable names. They're made up of letters, both uppercase and lowercase, digits, the underscore symbol, and the $sign. They're case sensitive, So if I created a variable name with APCS all uppercase, that would be different than APCS with just the A and the P uppercase. They cannot begin with a digit. So let's look at this list and find the ones that are legal identifiers. I love APCS. Yes. My $num. Yes. I underscore love underscore APCS. Yes. 2 underscore names. No. You may not begin identifiers with a digit. I love APCS exclamation point. No. You may not use the exclamation point in your identifier. Account underscore 2. Yes, I'm allowed to use upper and lowercase letters. $my num. Yes, I can begin an identifier with a $sign or an underscore. My $num. Yes. Account hat num. No. You may not use the hat or the caret symbol when creating Java identifiers. So in summary, coding is the process of developing algorithms to problems in a language that the computer can understand. An algorithm is a step-by-step process for solving a problem. In this course, we'll be using the Java programming language. And when you create code, you're writing English-like syntax and you're going to store it in a .java file. When this .java file is error-free and is run through the Java compiler will create a .class file, which is called bytecode. This file is the file that is executed when you run your program.